once again, I am Richard.
And I'm Shawn.
And we are speaking the language of bromance. Hello to you, sir.
What's up, man? So, I don't want to freak you out, and I don't want to make this podcast about sharks, but did you hear about the 9-foot shark?
No, I did not hear about the 9-foot shark. Also, I have a funny story. I have a shark-related story for you. That's just this one's gonna. Bull sharks. Have you heard of bull sharks?
I have.
Okay. Do you know they're in the river, right?
Yep.
They're in the river.
I think they found them all the way up near Iowa.
They did, and they actually have babies in the river. See, everybody was thinking that they couldn't give birth in fresh water, and so you didn't really have to worry about that far upriver. But yeah, they're giving birth. There's sharks all over the river. See, you thought you were safe. You were like, "Oh, I'm in a landlocked state. Everything's good for me." But guess what? Nope.
Yep.
Bull sharks. Knock knock on the boat on the river. Who's there? Pizza man? Nope. Bull shark.
That's why you don't swim in the river. I thought I read somewhere, or heard somebody say.
There's tons of reasons why you shouldn't swim in the river.
Yeah. E. coli, any other diseases.
Dysentery, barnacles.
I read somewhere, or heard somewhere that they thought, the book that Jaws was based off of, like the kids got attacked in the river. They said that it may not have been a great white. It actually may have been like a bull shark.
Really?
Yeah, I've heard like there's theories about that out there that because bull sharks are super aggressive, and if one did, they're more likely to be in a river than a great white. So it said that it could have possibly been just a bull shark attack. But so they're they've been tagging great whites recently.
Okay. No, I didn't know that, but for the sake of argument, okay. So they're like cows, like they're tagging them like cows.
Yeah. Well, so they tag them with like these GPS trackers, so they can kind of keep track of where they're going. Like it's this big thing. Like they have this like big cat system that they like lure the shark into it, and it lifts it out of water. And I guess once the shark's out of water, it like just kind of freezes and freaks out. It's like what the fuck's going on?
Okay. And
so then they like drill a hole in its dorsal fin and then stick this tag in there and then lower it back down, and they keep track of where it's going. It's like this big research thing, and they recently tagged, or I don't know if it's been recent when they tagged it, but they had a 9-foot female they tagged, which is it's like I think they range from 10 to 15 foot on average, so it's it's kind of on the lower end of
So is this like this whole know your enemy thing?
Yeah. So
because I will say, for someone that is deathly afraid of sharks, I like, aside from someone that has actually gone to school and trained to learn about sharks, you know more about sharks as a hobbyist than most that I know.
Well, it's always like you see stories, and it's kind of just one of those things. Like I'm super scared of them, but they're just so fascinating. Like they're just really, really intriguing. And so they tag this shark, and they're watching it, and just all of a sudden they're seeing it going along, and the radar they showed of it, you see like the temperature, and it's like 68 degrees, and so it's this 9-foot female shark, and the temperature is 68 degrees, and all of a sudden she just starts diving down into the water, and next thing all you see is that it goes from 68 degrees to like 88 or 78 degrees, and they said the only explanation for that would be that the shark was somehow devoured.
The shark was eaten?
The shark was eaten. So this 9-foot shark, the apex predator of the ocean, was eaten by something, and they don't know.
That's awesome.
I know. So you just see the shark, like you see the tag diving where it pings on the GPS, and all of a sudden the heat just cranks up, and you just see the thing start moving up. So I don't know if it died and like things just kind of chomped on it, but I mean, the theory out there is that, something big got a hold of it and chewed it down.
That's amazing. See, everybody always says that the final frontier is space. I think the final frontier is space, but we're not there yet. We're at the second to the last frontier, which is bottom of the ocean, because I think there is gigantic things down at the bottom of the ocean. There was a story about it was an underwater listening post that listens for, was up near the Arctic Circle, and it listens for sounds of things like whales to track whale movements and things like that. And they heard this. They call it. This was like years ago, but they call it the bloop. Have you heard the bloop? Okay, the bloop. I heard this thing about the bloop, and apparently this listing post, they play it's an audio track, and all you hear is this bloop, like just like a bubble in the water. But they said that in order for this, whatever made that sound would have to be enormous, considering that the thing that heard this bubble was I think 7-8 miles away.
Oh, wow.
So this listening device or post or whatever, 7-8 miles away, here's this bloop. And if you calculate the distance of that, they're thinking that the air bubble had to have been huge, which means that something huge would have had to have made it.
So could that have been like just some kind of like gas release in the bottom of the ocean, or are they like?
No, because they think it was actually something. They're not sure if it was something breathing or if it was something that was just like moving around, like just the sound or just.
Oh, I gotcha.
Like the bubbles created from just like something enormous moving around at the bottom of the ocean.
Yeah, I mean, it's always interesting. Like they talk about, and you kind of just mentioned this. Like they talk about space. And, like, it's vast and enormous, but, like, we don't even know the depths of our oceans. Like, there's species of stuff that they just, I think, have been gone for, thousands of years, and all of a sudden they just reappear.
Yeah. See, now we're going back to, this is Godzilla.
Yeah.
You want apex predator, there's your apex predator. Gigantic monster, breathes goddamn fire. That's an apex predator.
But yeah, I heard that story about the shark, and it's just crazy to think about what would have eaten it. And for it to go up that quick, like you would think if it was attacked by something, and if it was on its dorsal fin, like maybe it would have missed that, but it would have had to swallow quite a bit of it just to get that down. And I think some people like said maybe it was a giant squid, maybe it was killer whales. It's hard to tell what it was.
Yeah, but to eat, that thing's 9 feet long.
Yeah. And when you think about like that stuff,
I admire
too,
a shark because it's always moving.
Yeah,
it's always moving.
Well, it's cool if you watch those videos because if they just bring them up and leave them, like they'll end up dying because like they always have to have water rushing through them.
They can't swim backward, right? They always have to swim forward.
Yeah, I think so. Something with like the water movement through their gills.
Right.
But they'll actually stick like a hose in its mouth and let the water rush through that way.
Yeah.
But the ones that they tag on there, they're tagging like 15-foot, 12 to 15-foot sharks. Like they're tagging the big guys.
That's awesome.
But yeah, because even so it's a 9-foot shark, and a 9-foot shark really isn't going to eat anything like 9 foot. Like it's going to eat something relatively smaller to it. Like you look at those 15, 20-foot sharks, and they're eating 2.5, 3-foot seals. They're not going after these 20-foot whales unless it's
there you go.
Here's
something to bring it full circle. Something that I think's dangerous? The manatee. You know why? Because it's the sea cow.
Sea cow.
Right? Cows in the sea, which I have no idea how many they kill, but I'm sure they've taken somebody out.
I know. I think they get run over by boats a lot because they just kind of hang out, and so boats will be going by, and then the propeller just hits them. Crazy fact about manatees, when people first started coming over to America, there'd be guys on, and this is a good pirates and ninjas kind of thing. So the pirates or the sailmen would, the seamen would come floating in, and they'd see this big old sexy looking thing in the water, and they'd think it was a sexy mermaid and get all their juices going, and end up being a sea cow.
Yeah.
I want to know the first guy that jumped in and tried to make love to a sea cow.
I don't know. I'm sure he was like, look at that. I think she's wearing a dress.
Look at them big old titties.
Right? And then they're
sploosh.
Like, you got to sleep with her in the water. You can't bring her on board. It's bad luck,
Where's Rob? He's in the barrel.
Right? And then, it's like, see, instead of an albatross, they should have instead of calling, something bad luck, instead of calling it an albatross, they should call it a manatee.
Well, it just depends
because
on how you
I think
finish.
if I dive in the water and I'm like, hey, look at that chick, and like I've been out at sea for 3 months, and I see this hot, sexy chick in the water, or at least by that point, like anything in the water, sexy chick, regular chick, and I'm like, oh god, and I swim up to it, and then I see a giant manatee. That to me is a gigantic stroke of bad luck.
Yeah, but since you've gone through all the effort, do you just go ahead and introduce yourself and see where it goes?
Maybe, but the question is do you try and teach it English, or do you try to learn its language? Like you'd be like Jane Goodall of the manatees.
Maybe. I mean, you are in its habitat, so I think it's only natural.
Which now brings up the issue: do you
appropriate.
think Jane Goodall ever slept with a monkey?
I don't know.
I bet she has AIDS. That's terrible.
That might get edited out.
That's terrible.
Yeah, because she was
No
killed
offense
by
to Jane
poachers,
Goodall. I
wasn't she?
love Jane Goodall.
She was killed by poachers, wasn't she?
Jane Goodall was killed by poachers?
I thought so.
I have no idea.
Or maybe that's just one of those things they tell you in school to like make you love animals more.
Or at least make you fearful of the Congo.
Yeah.
Let me tell you about somebody that went into the Congo. Jane Goodall, and she loved those monkeys. And you know what happened? Poachers happened. Love the earth, kids. Love the earth, kids, even if the earth doesn't love you back. So, like, Jane Goodall was like that bear guy, the guy that loved the bears, and then the bear ate him.
Well, she was a little bit more scientific about it because she didn't just like. Because you've seen the documentary about the bear guy, right?
I haven't seen the documentary. I know the story.
Because like you see him, because like with her, from my understanding, is like she studied them from afar, and she thought she understood their culture, and even like when you compare bears and like, was she with gorillas or was she with chimpanzees?
Gorillas in the Mist. That was Jane Goodall.
Okay,
that was the name of her documentary. I think it was either a documentary or a series or both. But Gorillas in the Mist was her thing.
But at least that's like something that's like bears like have not really any kind of cognitive or like tied like humans and all, but like apes and everything were at least kind of in the same genre. And she studied them from afar, and she like at least knew like they kind of have some similar movements to humans on how like we interact. But with the bear dude, it's just like he's like, bears like me, and just like starts walking out the bears, and just
That's true. He's just like, I'm the bears love me. I'm one with the bears, and then he like hugs them, and you're just like, what are you doing? It's like,
Hey, bear! Bear! I want to be your friend, bear! Look, he's coming! What? Slow down, bear! Oh, God!
credits.
And his girlfriend in that was just even crazier.
It was the shortest movie in the world. It lasted 38 seconds.
I mean, it's like, so he shows video. It's just him and his camcorder. And there's a few times where like the bears come up and like he kind of pets them, and you're like, okay, like you should just be thankful that you like lucked out.
Yeah, to me it's like it's danger porn is what it is to me. It's like to me it's the same as the guy that like walks like a tightrope between two skyscrapers.
But even then, you're on. If you fall, it's on you.
Exactly, and just with this guy, like if the bear bites your head off, like to a point, you had it coming. You had it coming. Because you don't. Mother Nature, she be a cruel mistress. Just like gravity.
Pulls you down. Knocks you down, takes you down. But bad thing is, though, if you get attacked by a bear, I mean, you just end up as poop.
I'd hate to be eaten by anything.
I think that's like my big fear with sharks is just it's the fear of being eaten. Because it's just, it's like I would have bought you like a steak or, threw a whole cow in the water for you.
Right.
Like I could have provided for you.
Right.
More than
like
one
I'm not
meal.
going to chum the water with myself.
Yeah, exactly. But you watch some of those documentaries on just like animal stuff.
Shark! Come here! I've got a nice fish for you!
I call him Bruce. Craziness.
See, this is what everything's going to devolve into. We're just going to have stories. It's going to be news stories about sharks.
Yeah, we're just gonna have to change it from Language of Bromance to Language of sharks.
Why I hate sharks. The Shawn
Why I
Mendes.
hate sharks.
That's the title of your autobiography.
It'll be like somewhere
Let
around
me tell you something about sharks that you don't know. The
around
Shawn
episode
Henniger story.
100. I have the turnaround where I just start falling in love with sharks, and then I decide to swim with them, and that's when I get eaten.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you had it coming.
Sharks on the water.
Cage in the water.
Dead end. Sells the shark.
So other than Mother Nature and whatnot, what have you had going on?
I don't really have much. See, this is my thing. My life is very humdrum. I feel like my life is very humdrum. Not a lot. I didn't read. I saw this Jean Garofalo. Have you ever seen Jean Garofalo? This is one of my secret crushes. Not really. Well, I mean, like 90s Jean Garofalo. Like she was an actress, comedian, more definitely a comedian, less of an actress. And not that she's a bad actress, but I'm trying to think of some movies she was in. Truth About Cats and Dogs. That was her.
Yeah. She was in a couple of View Askew movies, wasn't she?
Yes, she was. She was in Dogma,
That's right.
and that's the only one I can think of off the top of my head. But yeah, Dogma definitely, and Truth About Cats and Dogs. That's the movie because she was a big player in it. But anyway, she was doing a comedy routine for a very small crowd, and I was watching this YouTube video. I went down a rabbit hole one night, and she was talking about pubic hair on women.
Okay.
And she was saying that it's a necessity. And up front, I will say that my opinion on pubic hair is indifferent. I'm indifferent.
I'm kind of the same way.
But she was saying that it's the way she explained it was it's like your eyebrows but different, in the sense that if you didn't have eyebrows, then you would have conjunctivitis 24/7, and that's what the point of the pubic patch is for. But I'm saying I disagree with that point.
Okay.
I disagree with it on a couple of points. Because number one, there's people that have no body hair at all.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not because they get rid of it willingly. It's because they don't have it.
Yeah, just different conditions.
What's the guy's name? He's an actor. He was in Devil's Rejects. And I don't even think they mentioned his name, the character name in the Devil's Rejects. I think they just called him the chicken fucker. Or the not chicken fucker, because he was very adamant on not being a chicken fucker.
Was it the guy they called No, was it the guy they called Big Tiny?
No. No, he was with the pimp.
Oh,
and they go to buy the chickens. He's like, "You hear what they say about me, boss? We don't buy chickens from him no more."
He was from The Hills Have Eyes too, the original,
He was
right?
the original
Okay.
Hills Have Eyes. Anyway,
Yeah.
he has a medical condition to where he actually cannot grow hair on his body. He cannot grow hair. As far as I know, he can't grow fingernails.
Ooh.
And he doesn't sweat. He has no sweat glands.
Sweat glands? That'd be a rough go.
It would, because that's how I'd be hot all the time.
I think, and it pretty much, cause I think pigs they can't sweat either, and that's why they have to like wallow in mud, is to keep themselves cool, because they'll just overheat really quick. So I'd
Right.
assume he has the same kind of scenario.
I would think so too, and I'm thinking like, God, the first movie he was in, like they filmed it in the middle of the desert.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Are most of his scenes at night?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. So anyway, pubic hair, it's like eyebrows.
He's saying or she was saying it's like eyebrows because it's a collector, but it's a protector. But I disagree with this because not everybody grows hair, number one. So, like, if you don't grow it, then obviously there's nothing to protect you. See, to me, I see it as a byproduct of evolution. It's something that we have that's left over. Like, like when we were cavemen, we had hair all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
And I think as we've evolved and learned to, build houses and not live in a cave and have things like, heat and air conditioning, that body hair, not all, but most, is more of a option. Like, you have hair in your arms. What does that protect you from?
Yeah. Well, I know, like, your eyebrows, like, it makes sense. Like, it can keep things out of your eyes, but your face really isn't covered. At least in our society, you don't really cover your face at all. But, like, down, in the pubic region, like, that's always covered, so there's not really any need for protection there anymore. Was that what she was trying to get at, is that it basically protects you from getting things in that area?
Exactly. That was the point she was making. Because, like, she compared it to your eyebrows. She's saying if you didn't have eyebrows, you would have conjunctivitis all the time. But I'm saying that's not. I don't think that's totally the case. So, as a woman or man, if you're gonna shave, just go ahead. You're fine. You're fine. There is nothing that's gonna hurt you that you don't do to yourself.
It just kind of gets,
if
like,
you're drunk.
it's one of those areas too. It's like you can do whatever you want there. Nobody's going to know unless you want them to know. Like, your significant other will probably know if if you're as open as Tiffany and I are. I mean, we just kind of run around the house together, so we know what everything's going on because we're a married couple, or even dating couples. But I mean, you can do whatever you want. So I mean, I guess
At what point is it that it's okay to just be naked in a non-sexual setting?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, would it take us like 3 or 4 weeks before we were doing that together?
Who's the one that made the first move? Was it you? You were like,
I think
okay,
you did.
I'm going for it.
I think you did. Oh, you mean me and Tiffany?
Right. Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were talking about us.
I can't. I get too crazed. The lust takes over.
I don't know. I mean, we had a
sounds. I'm like, hey, Shawn, hey, Bear, why are you so hairy?
Hey, Cub, come here, Cub. Because I'd be the cub in our relationship. You have longer hair than I do and more of a beard.
It's true. Does that make me the alpha?
I don't know. Some cubs could probably be the alpha in the relationship.
There are people that get. I'll be out at bars with my wife, and my wife will talk to people because she's social, and so she'll chit chat with other people. If she talks to other men and men look at me, they get intimidated. Now, I mean, I'm not an intimidating person, but I think it's the beard.
Yeah, and you kind of, I don't know if saying lowbrow would be the right way of saying it, but you've kind of got like when you're not like talking, you've kind of got like I'll F you up kind of face, I think. Especially like if you don't really see you at first. You just kind of like.
Show.
Yeah, well, I know you're a big softy on the inside.
Aw. It is because I'm generally weak. I've been in very few fights in my life. I've been in 3. In one I won, and the other one I lost. I really won, and the other one I really, really lost. And the third one I lost. Yeah. I think that's something that every man should do in their life. I think, number 1, they should get in a fight. And number 2, they should lose a fight. Now, whether or not that happens in the same fight, that's totally up to you. But I think that should definitely happen at least once in your life as a man.
Yeah, I'll stay away from it. I'd like to go through life and not have to get in a fight.
And
especially
you ever been in a fight? Have you ever actually gotten so angry that you and another person have actually physically started hitting each other?
No, I mean, there was like a little scuffle in like 6th grade, but I wouldn't really call that a fight. It was just, 2 kids wrestling around.
I did. I got I've won where the other person was on the ground and I was victorious, and then there was not the other. Oh God, that second one, I was beaten. I had my ass handed to me, but I learned that lesson of humility, because when it's all said and done, because I consider myself a fairly intelligent person, but you take words away, you take intelligence away. That's all we got. It's all that separates us from death.
It's the strength,
the guns.
The strength to defeat somebody
Jack
else.
Johnson and Tom O'Reilly. I don't know why one has an Irish name and one has another one, but it's,
Yeah, I'd like to stay away from fisticuffs. I think the main thing with when you get in a fight, like you don't want to get in a fight with somebody that you know is going to whoop your ass because there's absolutely no point.
exactly.
But then again, if you get in a fight with somebody you think you can take, you never know. Like maybe they're skilled in some kind
All
of
of a sudden
self-defense.
they start doing like parkour flips, and then you're like,
Yeah.
oh, crap.
And I mean, in this day and age, and I'm sure it was just well, actually, no, probably like grandparents and my parents' age, it wasn't like this. But I mean, nowadays you don't know like what kind of person has like a knife or something on them because it just seems like life is just so like invaluable now that there's people out there who don't care if they have to kill you. It's just whatever. And even if they may feel threatened that they think you're going to kill them, so it is rightly self-defense. But like you don't have like back when my grandpa and them were younger. It's just like you get drunk and you start arguing with somebody. You just go outside and punch each other, and whoever's the winner is.
It depends on people. I think people have carried knives on them all the time. In fact, I think it was more commonplace for people to carry knives on them a long time ago because I don't know, knives were probably more useful.
Yeah, well, maybe it was just there's more of a gentleman's agreement. It's like, well, let's set our knives aside and let's just see who can beat the crap out of the other person, but we'll we're not going to kill each other. Whereas today, I mean, if you get in a fight, most people, like you said, don't carry knives.
I'm not ready to die today. How about
Yeah.
you, Jim? Oh, yeah, I guess you're right. I don't know, though. We got the depression going on.
Yeah, they did have duels back in the day too, where I think that was basically made it legal.
See, that's the thing. Is like we don't walk 10 paces and then shoot each other with guns.
It's like, how do you want to solve this? Do you want to fight or do you want to shoot each other until one of us dies?
Right. We usually, well, we do that, but now we don't walk 10 paces. Usually we just go for the element of surprise.
Yeah, which is kind of shady. I mean, it'd be nice if something like that's going to happen. It's like, at least give me a chance.
You know where we learned that from? Pirates.
Yep. Oh, yeah, back to, pirates and ninjas.
Pirates.
See, ninjas, what'd pirates do? Pirates are probably a little bit more non-surprising. Ninjas were the assassins, so they would kind of hide. So I guess in this instance,
ninjas like to hide and whatever, but pirates were the dirty fighters. And to me, I think that's like, I'm a dirty fighter because at the end of the day, like, it doesn't matter how you won, you won.
that's true. There's nothing fair about fighting.
No, not at all. I'm a horrible dirty fighter.
Well, you have to be. I mean, that's what, whenever I've wrestled with my dad when I was younger, like, he'd always, like, punch you in the leg or, pinch you or whatever, and you'd be like, no fair, and that's the first thing he told me. He's like, there's nothing fair about fighting.
That's right.
And it's,
Usually my dad would kind of, like, play around with me until I got a bit too rough, and then he'd just put me down. He just, and then I was down.
Dads are good about that.
That's a whole I don't know. To me, that's a whole lion thing. That's, like the cub lion's like, I'm going to take you, old man. The old man's like, whap, fuck you. And then you're like, oh, that's why you're dad.
I'll go to my room.
Yep.
Yeah, it's scary to think, like, you get in those situations where you do fight, though, and it's just what you're capable of. And I guess that's what's kind of would scare me the most. Because I just don't want to be in that situation because it's like somebody's got to lose. And I hate to be in that fight where somebody just doesn't give up. Either way, either I'm getting my butt kicked and they don't want to stop, or, you're kicking their butt, but you don't want to knock them out.
Yeah.
And plus now they're just so quick to arrest people that even if it was a fair fight and nobody got seriously hurt, you're probably still both going to go off to jail and,
and then you got
all
to deal
that
with
jazz.
The law.
Bogusness.
Damn the man. See,
I'm just gonna go live with the bears.
Hey, Bear! Bear! I'm back!
so you're afraid of getting beat up by another human being, but you'll run out to the woods and scream for bears.
Why not?
You're supposed to clap two sticks together. I learned that in the Parent Trap.
Uh,
that doesn't attract bears. That's for cougars. So you go out in the woods and you clap two sticks together, and 40-year-old women just come out of the woodwork and want you to buy them drinks.
hey, sailor.
Holy shit, it works.
Hey, cougar. Yes.
See, now I'm picturing like packs of 40-year-old women like running through the.
Scouring the running trails for men running on their morning runs. Just pounce on them.
Watch out for cougars.
Betsy, this one's mine.
See, now if you go out jogging, you should be like, Tiffany, I got attacked by cougars on the way home.
It's like, why is there lipstick all over you?
I was attacked by cougars.
I
Barely
feel
escaped with
dirty.
my life. I did.
Yeah, being in a college town, you really don't see too many cougars around here. Of course, I'm not really cougar hunting, so.
Yeah, me neither. But it seems like if I'm out at a bar, regardless of my company, it seems like it invariably happens. It's usually the one at the end of the night drank way too much and is looking for somebody to take her home. Who are you? I'm the guy that's leaving. Who are you?
Where are we leaving? No, I said I'm
No,
leaving.
me. I'm going. Oh. Don't know.
Where are we going?
I have to
Sailor.
go.
It's like-
My grandmother's on fire. That's where I.
Do women really like older women whenever they talk to younger men? Do they really call them sailor?
I don't know. I thought you were just making like an old timey reference.
I think that should be on my bucket list. I want some old lady to call me sailor someday. Like I don't like ships or water or sharks, so.
Or semen. Good night, everybody. How about soccer? Are you into soccer?
No, I
World
hate
Cup's
soccer.
going on.
Yeah, I hate this time of year because everybody's a soccer fan. We were at this little bar place. It's kind of newer and it's kind of hipster. It's where a lot of like younger people go, and they've got like bags and they got horseshoes and they've got like washers and stuff like that. And like I'm sitting there and I'm not drinking because we're gonna go somewhere else too, and just hear people behind me just like rambling on about how Ghana was going to win this and how such and such had a great backfield, and just kind of look and it's like, I bet this is the first time this person's ever even looked at like soccer in 4
probably.
years.
The thing that I love it when the town I live in, you don't really hear a lot about soccer. The only places that that you get like a big giant dose of soccer, Mexican restaurants. And I'm not saying this is not stereotypical at all, at least not from my perspective. But they're the ones that care.
Which, I mean,
Americans don't care in general.
Soccer's not big here at all.
Which I think, I don't know if it's like a whole like, American pride thing or, or lack thereof, or if it's just the sport in and of itself. Like if American football was a national sport and the Super Bowl was actually like a world event, would we be as enthusiastic? Because, we were all about the Dream Team. You remember the Dream Team?
Yeah, I mean, people still get pretty pumped up for like sports that America's good at, like basketball. And if like American football was big, I think it'd still be a big thing.
So we're just into sports we know we can win.
Yeah, for the most part.
Is that
I'd
why
say,
we all like snowboarding right now?
Yeah, and swimming for a little bit. I think you look at all like the America's four major sports: football, American football, basketball, baseball, and hockey. All four of those were created in the United States, so they all just kind of grown from here. Where soccer's always been an international game, and it's really, like people can play other sports here that are, I don't know if they'd be considered more fun. At least I would, but. Soccer is very much one of those games that's, these developing countries, because all you need is a ball. And yeah, golf was probably one that wasn't originated here. But really, that was kind of the Tiger Woods effect.
Yeah.
Once he got good at golf, like everybody wanted to play. That's why I got into it when I was, starting college.
What about when he started sleeping with, like, when you found out he slept with, like, he was like the Wilt Chamberlain of golf?
That part wasn't bad. Have you heard any of the voicemails he left for some of those girls?
No.
Oh my god, it's like it's basically like
it's so
like
tawdry.
me when in high school, like when a girl wouldn't return my call. It's like,
Oh, that's terrible. You know what I always hated? I always hated when you were in class and you went to pass a girl a note, or you wrote the note. See, because, I mean, this is me dating myself, but we didn't text. We wrote each other notes and then physically passed the notes to another person. And that's how you contacted another human being in school, was you didn't text them. You wrote down a note and then you sent them said note. And then they read it. But anyway, the thing I hated is you wrote that note, and as soon as I say this, you wrote that note, I like you, do you like me, circle yes or no, and then you would write yes or no, and then you would pass the note, and then you're sitting there in anticipation, and you're like, God, oh, I can't wait for an answer, I can't wait if it's yes, and oh, I'm going to be devastated if it's no, and then you get the note back, and like the excitement is, you're getting heart palpitations and you're breaking out in a cold sweat on your face and your palms are starting to get clammy and you're fumbling through and you're to open the note and you finally get it unfolded and you look and yes isn't circled and you're like, oh God. But then you look and you see no isn't circled and you're like, what I don't understand. Did she just not read it? Did she just not want it? And then you see the word in between, you see the word maybe. And you're like, I didn't write that, and then that's circled.
at least you got the maybes. In all mine, it was the no's.
I would have rather had no, because I am the kind of person that if you say maybe, I do this today. If I'm with my wife and I'm like, hey baby, you want to fool around later, and she says maybe. Like, even if she's thinking in my head, God, no, why do I want to fuck you tonight? Like, like you haven't showered. Like, I've worked all day. Like, why would you entertain this notion at all? But in order to save face or to be nice, she'll say maybe. And so what I will do is then I'll start to push. And I'll push and I'll push. Because to me, maybe says what it is. It's maybe yes, but it's maybe no. So then, invariably, what happens is I get too pushy, and then bad things happen. And then it's not a fight, but then it's usually, why can't you just back off? And I'm like, well, you said maybe.
I thought I needed to try harder.
That's my defense, is maybe.
Yeah, I've kind of learned, like, in anything, maybe typically means no.
Yeah, I'm 32. I haven't learned that lesson yet. I don't know when that's gonna happen. If you're gonna say no, you say no. To me, just don't sit on the fence. Okay. You want something I hate? Mennonites. Don't like them. Don't like them at all. Because to me, you're sitting on the fence.
You're a maybe.
You're a maybe. You're a total maybe because you're like, oh, I'll wear clothes like Amish people, and I'll grow a beard like an Amish person. I'll wear a hat like an Amish person, and then I will get in my van, and I will drive to Walmart, and I will look for the Kesha seat, and my kids will look for the Kesha CD while I talk on my cell phone and shop for food. To me, that's like, be Amish or don't be Amish. Like, don't try and have your cake and eat it too. I'm okay with bisexuals though. That seems okay.
So we lost all our Mennonite listeners, but we had a big gain in our bisexual listeners.
Yay! Hey, I'm fine with that. I'm really okay with that.
Hey, Bear! Did you hear what he said about us? Us Mennonites, Bear?
I hope the bear eats Mennonites. Or maybe he'll only eat half of it. And then feel indifferent towards the other half.
So yeah, going on like you're talking about like the yes and no. So my mom worked at school where I went, like in grade school.
Okay.
And there was this girl like I had a huge crush on. It was like 6th grade. And I kind of knew better than to ask her out because like there was just no way like she was gonna say yes. There's just no way at all. And before she like lived walking distance from school, so she would walk home, and usually she'd walk by where my mom was sitting because she sat by the front door. And, she talked to my mom and us for a little bit and then leave. Well, one day as I'm standing there, my mom was like, he really likes you. You should go out with him. Do you want to go out with him?
My
mom did, yeah.
She was playing matchmaker.
Exactly. And so I just kind of
the Lady of Windsor. She was. You know what I think? I think your blood and my son's blood should culminate in a child. And it should be a masculine child.
I offer you this free bathroom pass to unite with my son. And my jaw just kind of dropped. She didn't offer the bathroom pass. She probably should have. Maybe she would have said yes then. And my jaw just kind of drops. I just turn around and walk away because it's like, like you said with that no, it's like I knew she was going to say no. And I really didn't want to stand there with my mom and my sister while she said no. And so I just kind of turn around and walk away. But then, your heartbeat's like, oh, what if she says yes?
Yeah, you turn to walk away slowly.
Yeah, ear kind of perked. And she's like, no, I just kind of... Tears. Lip quivers. Walk into the girls' bathroom stall because that's where you go to cry.
Mm-hmm. You grab 4 paper towels and you just sit there and you just weep into them. And it's not even like a pathetic cry. It's like that angry cry where you're just like, yeah, it's bad.
Grade school dating and all that was just it's so miserable. Such a weird age.
I tried to get on a horse to impress a girl.
How'd that go?
I fell off the horse.
Was she impressed?
I fell gracefully, but no.
No.
Actually, come to think of it, with this girl, every single time I encountered her, there was always some sort of bodily injury. Because I went over to her house, and she had horses. And so I was trying to be impressive, so I was like, I'll ride a horse. So I get on the horse. As soon as the horse starts to go more than 2 miles an hour, I just tumble off it and fall head first. I crossed my arms in front of my face and just fell and hit the ground. And I think she was holding back laughter. I was trying not to notice. I don't know if that impressed her, but months later, I did manage to either wash away the horse memory from her, or she seemed oddly impressed, because we did end up going on a date. And it was in 4th grade, my first date. I was in 4th grade.
Oh,
and
wow.
We went skating.
Nice.
I know, right? Because that's, you're going together and you're talking and there's wheels and movement. And you're going in circles and you can chit chat, and or then they put on the disco ball and they start putting on that sexy music. Yeah.
Get with your significant other and hold hands.
What's up? This is and then they start playing Bryan Adams.
Oh yeah.
There it goes.
Was that would have been circa what, 90?
Oh yeah, that's
6.
Oh God, no.
92.
Let's see. 4th grade. Yeah, 92. So yeah, it was told Bryan Adams. This is everything I do. I do it for you. Look into my eyes.
Is that Robin Hood?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, Prince of Thieves.
Nailed it.
Love that movie.
So anyway, the first date ever with a girl, and at one point, I don't remember what happened, but I think I hit a wall. And I just remember I had this gigantic pain in my leg. But I was just like, no, just block it out, be above it. So by the time I get home, I am dying. The pain is killing me. I pulled a groin muscle. I pulled my groin muscle on my first date.
Nice.
And there wasn't sex involved. I walked around with a cane for the next 2 weeks.
So were you in school at that point? So you're
no, this was over summer vacation. Luckily, I was not walking around in school with a cane and having to explain it. I just had to explain it to my mother. How'd you pull your groin muscle? I was skating. Is that all you were doing? I'm like, I'm in my head. I'm like, I'm 12. What the hell is she talking about?
What
I'm
else
like,
is there to
yeah.
do, Mom?
Oh,
You
never
having a
mind.
sex?
I gotta go. My grandmother's on fire.
Grandma's on fire?
No, not yours. It's mine on my mother's side. I gotta go. And yeah, pulled my groin muscle 2 weeks with a cane, and it was terrible. That was my first date. That was the memory. That's the one memory I have of my first date is also like, with puberty. I'm like, why? There's this searing pain in between my legs. That's why. Pulled my groin muscle and, became a man. That was a terrible summer. I'm sad now.
Well, let's see. My first date wasn't until I was driving. I was 16, and first movie I ever went to see was Undercover Brother.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I don't think I would trade anything to ever go back to that time. Like to be like, if somebody says like, "Hey, you could be 16 again."
Oh God, that
I'd be like,
sounds terrible.
No, thank
That's
you.
a terrible notion. I was awkward and nerdy, and like I was so unsure about myself and everything, the world. Oh God.
Yeah, Tiffany and I were just talking about this today. I was like, if you had like Facebook and stuff back when you were in high school, it's like, or even younger, it's like, do you think you'd have a lot of embarrassing stuff on there? She's like, no, probably not. I'm like, I'm pretty sure I would. Like, there's probably notebooks full of stuff written that, like, if I would look at today, like, I would just thank God that nobody saw it but me.
Yeah, now see, we're at the lucky age where we can just amend the internet to have nothing but good things about us.
Exactly.
We show the best of ourselves on the internet because there was no it's prehistory.
Like, we're not going on about stories of like fourth grade and pulling our groins. Like, that's never going to be out there for anybody to know. Wait a second. But I mean, just like the lyrics I would write down, and like like you said, like it's just a weird age. Like you don't really like you got so much stuff going on that you just don't really know like who you are, or like it's like what the hell is all this that's going on in life, and just some of the stuff that I probably would have wrote on Facebook on walls or like in Twitter just would have been just terrible.
Dear diary. Dear Facebook. I wonder if kids do that. I wonder if kids treat the internet like a diary, or God forbid they actually put their diary on the internet.
I know for a while I kind of used Facebook as that was like not really like deep thoughts, but just kind of like marking like different things that had happened. So like if I don't know, like
I never did. I always like people to know as little about me as possible. I think that's a byproduct of school, of being younger.
When with my Facebook, there's probably a few too many people on there, but I try to keep it like very limited. Like I know some people like when they're in college, they would just, it's like, oh, hey, I met you at a bar, Facebook me. And then like it's 10 years later, you met that person once and they're still Facebook friends with you. And like that's always seemed really weird to me. So I've always just tried to keep like friends and like close personal family members.
See, the amount of people I have on my Facebook account was indifferent. It's to me, it's what I share. I share very little. Usually things that I say or do, it's usually either to make people laugh or to offer some sort of poignant thought. Mm-hmm. And in the hopes that maybe somebody reads that and is like, oh, maybe that's not life altering, but that's something to ponder.
Yeah. So do you have a personal journal or anything like that?
Well, if I did, I don't know if I'd tell you.
Oh.
Yeah.
Maybe I won't tell you about the personal journal that I may not have.
See,
I have one.
I'm picturing you like laying on a bed with your stomach and like your legs up, like all crossed.
Big feathery pen.
Dear diary.
Oops, scratch out diary. Dear journal, because I'm a man.
Journal. Today I ate
was
steak.
a good day.
I ate steak and nobody was mean to me.
Tiffany said we can have pizza tonight. LOLs. Yeah, Facebook, bears, sharks.
It's all here. I'll tell you. Here's one thing that scares me. I'll let this out. You know what scares me? Zombies. Zombies freak me out. Because unlike sharks, see, to me sharks are like it's like the it's like the villain of a horror movie. Okay? With Jason, you don't go to Crystal Lake. And you're fine. There's no death there.
Freddy Krueger, just stay awake.
With Freddy Krueger. Well, I always like to say don't fall asleep on Elm Street, because to say just stay awake seems a bit impractical. Let's see, Freddy, Jason, Michael Myers is a bit different. You know, stay away from certain parts of Illinois. We'll say that. Oh crap.
Or just, you just don't have to be related or be around anybody related to him. You should be in good shape.
This is true. Okay, but to me, zombies that's the global killer. Number one, it's the global killer, and number two, they get you on land.
Yeah, you said you've got a zombie preparedness plan, right?
Yeah, it's kind of sad because I actually I thought about it one day, and I still don't. I don't have a plan in place if my house catches on fire. So if my house catches on fire, chances are I'm going to burn alive because I don't have a plan in my head of what to do in the event there's a fire in my home. I mean, I'm hoping that I can think on my feet quickly enough to exit, find a point of exit, and get to safety. I'm relying on my wits. But I do have a plan in my head of what's going to happen in the event of a zombie attack. I know where I'm going to go, what I'm going to do, who I'm going to go with, what I should do in the event of contingency A, B, or C. I have a very thorough zombie apocalypse plan in my brain.
And it's safe to say, too, like, all this is pre-Walking Dead. I know since Walking Dead's kind of come around.
Dead. This was pre-Walking Dead. This was pre-28 Days Later. Actually, I'd say this was pre-Dawn of the Dead remake. Because I think, to me, that's what kind of... I think that's where the whole zombie thing kind of came back.
Yeah, that's what did it for me, because I never really watched much Romero stuff, just because, my parents aren't really into that kind of stuff, and so I just never was exposed to it. And I got into horror movies around high school and went and saw the Dawn of the Dead and was like, zombies are cool. Why don't they do more of this stuff?
Zombies are cool until they're eating your face.
It's weird to think, because that's been 12, 14 years ago when that movie came out.
God, now I feel old.
Yeah,
See,
I know.
zombies...
I think I was a senior in high school, so I guess it's been about 10 years maybe.
You want to talk about zombies? Here's zombies in reality. Number one, Haiti. Country that's very, very big on things like voodoo and stuff like that. Zombies in Haiti. There's a movie stars Bill Pullman. It's called The Serpent and the Rainbow. It's about zombies in Haiti, which is something that actually happens. People walk around. People that other ones thought was dead. You find them wandering around, shambling around, getting ready to eat faces. That's what they're getting ready to do.
Well, they weren't. They didn't like eat people though in that, did they?
I don't in the
Serpent
movie or in
Rainbow.
real life. I don't know.
I'm trying to remember.
I think if they did, they wouldn't say anything because they don't want to induce panic.
Yeah, because I thought the idea behind those is basically like you create like a brain dead servant kind of thing. Like it basically obeys all your commands. So I guess if you commanded it to eat somebody's face, it would.
They
But
probably would. Okay, here we go. Example number 2. This is the creepy one. People high on bath salts. This one's fairly recent. People get
Fairly recent, about 4 years ago, but let's go with it.
People get fairly, tripped out on whatever substance they're on. Yeah, they're wandering around eating people's faces, eating people, or at the very least, trying to bite people. And not only that, but I've read stories of them taking gunshots, multiple gunshots, still on the move, trying to eat your face. If that's not a zombie, tell me what is. You tell me what is.
Well, that guy in Florida that was the big one that came out. Didn't they shoot him like 3 or 4 times, and he was still coming at the cops?
And you tell me what the difference is between that and something you saw in 28 Days Later. There's no difference. Because to me, zombies in 28 Days Later weren't actually zombies. They were, but they weren't. I wouldn't define them as a zombie, but it's close enough that we're gonna call them that. They were infected because in the movie you had the monkey bites somebody and then they get crazy and then that crazy person bites somebody and it just goes on and on and on.
Was Jane Fonda there?
Jane Goodall.
Jane Goodall. Was Jane Goodall there?
She might have been. Now it's Zombies in the Mist. Now I'm picturing Jane Goodall like wandering around with a bunch of zombies in the Congo.
She was the original Michonne.
Hey, zombie! Zombie! I've got somebody's arm.
Yeah, I remember, because when I told you I saw 28 Days Later and really liked it, I remember you asking me if I considered it a zombie movie. And I think, to me, it depends on what you're talking about. Because, like, if you're looking at, like The Living Dead, then
it's close enough.
Yeah.
Close enough that I'm going to say the word. I don't know. But yeah, see, people get high on stuff, eating people in the face.
So really this is just a show about like trying to save people from bad things. We're trying to save them from sharks, cows, bath salts, bears.
Don't do drugs, kids. Makes you want to eat people in the face.
Hey, bear!
Stay away from the zombie, bear! The killer!
What's he doing over there? I can't even see him.
Oh my God, he's eating his face off. See, you know what happens when that happens? Zombie bears.
So how do we get from pubic hair to zombie bears?
I don't know, but to me, it seems like a very logical way to go.
Yeah, I could buy it.
Zombie. See, that should be a movie, is Zombie Bears.
Could you imagine? Because, like, at least now they kind of know, like, to stay away from humans. But could you imagine just, like, bears that, like, just don't care at all?
Yeah. Yeah. It's like...
Isn't there...
Resident Evil had those dogs, the zombie dogs.
Oh, yeah.
See, this would be the same thing. Except it'd be bears. Zombie bears. You know what would make it... The only thing that I think would make it even more terrifying is if they were Nazis. Nazi zombie bears.
Copyrighted Rich and Shawn.
That's
Language
a movie.
Of Bromance.
That's so a movie.
You could make that a movie.
I could totally,
pretty easily.
Totally make that a movie. You have some kids that are like wandering around, like, you know, an abandoned building or whatever, and they find the secret metal door, and then they open it up, and it goes down to a lab, and then in the lab you see there's like this really decrepit old man with long hair.
I was just thinking that. Keep going.
Still, so the decrepit old man. He's sitting in like a wheelchair, but he still has like an SS uniform on. Really long hair, like a scraggly beard that's gray, and he wears like dark sunglasses and like clicking away at a typewriter, and he's like, "Let me show you my bears," and then Nazi zombie bears.
Well, but then how you sell it? So those kids find him, and he's like typing away, and he's like, "I've only got one file left," and so like this whole time he's been trying to keep these bears like, comatose, but he's got the last file, but he's so shaky when he goes to put it in, drops it, and it busts. Zombie bears out. Get up the elevator, they're out into the world.
But how do we know they're Nazi bears? How do we know they're Nazi zombie bears? There's swastikas shaved into the fur. No, that doesn't. I don't.
Yeah, I would think it'd be like those circus bears who have like the hats and the little uniform. They have like a.
But they have a little like German SS hat on.
Yeah.
And a monocle.
Well, the leader would have the monocle because you got to know which one's the leader.
Yeah, it'd be like the Colonel Clink of bears. The
And he could
Colonel Clink of zombie bears.
Well, then you have them like fighting around Germany, they get it contained, but then you have the American soldiers, come and take them down, and they take the monocle bear, which switched somehow, so you think he's just one of the regular bears, but he's really the leader bear.
He is the
bringing
leader
him back
bear.
to
He's
America.
the Colonel Clink. He's the Colonel Clink of bears.
Zombie Nazi bears take America.
Hey, Bear! Bear! I got an idea for a movie, Bear!
Hogan had tunnels all underneath the base. It's a Hogan's Heroes reference. There you go.
I
had to go. Did you ever see Hogan's Heroes?
I've
Colonel
never seen
Clink?
it.
Hogan was this POW in a German war camp, but and Colonel Clink was the guy that ran the camp. But like Hogan just like ran roughshod all over this camp. They had tunnels underneath it, but he never left. I never understood that. He never left the camp. He just stayed in this POW camp, which apparently was like fucking Club Med of Nazi camps.
It's like, listen, we're going to make this, tragic event a little bit lighthearted.
I'm thinking the Holocaust meets the Love Boat.
People will love it. There's nothing else on TV. Were there ever any
Colonel
like
Clink
serious?
always had this outrageous German accent, and he had this monocle in. And
He was the one that said like, "I see nothing."
yeah, I had
Okay.
a boss that looked like him without the monocle, bald head, had that gruff demeanor.
Same accent.
Oh no, I wish. Oh God, I wish. You just wanted to tell him that Hogan had tunnels underneath the entire island, or underneath the camp. Hey, Bear! Colonel Bear! Hogan had tunnels under the island, Bear!
Oh, Scheisse. Yeah. So was there ever any like serious episodes on that, or was it all just lighthearted
Honestly, I
goofiness?
don't remember.
Oh, okay.
It was a long time ago. That was around the same time as MASH.
MASH, at least. I mean, it was funny, but at least they had some seriousness to it. Like there was like you. That seems like one of the shows like you tune in and be all like, "Okay, I'm ready for some chuckles," and you leave crying. You're like, "Oh, it was so upsetting. I wanted to
Damn you,
laugh, and now I
Vietnam.
cried."
Damn you, Alan Alda.
The chicken was a baby. Well, on that note, got anything else you want to add to our zombie bear / survival tips?
Now I'm thinking chickens.
Chickens.
Chickens could be riding the bears.
You know what? The leader of the Nazi zombie bears is a chicken.
He's controlling the bear.
Yep, that's trademark Shawn and Rich, Language of Bromance. All right, well, if you guys want, go ahead and reach us on Twitter. Reach us at Twitter at Language of Bro, or you can email us at languageofbromance@gmail.com. Just any kind of comments or whatever. We should have this up on iTunes at some point, so give us a little review and tell us what we can do different or better, or if you have a title
Stop talking
for
about
zombie
sharks,
bears.
probably.
What's that?
I said the
Talk
first
to
comment's
sharks,
gonna be
yeah.
stop talking about sharks.
Like, listen.
Next one's gonna be I like the idea with bears.
How about the zombie? Oh, there we go. That's going to be the sequel. It's going to be Zombie Bears versus Sharks.
With
It's
laser
gonna be done.
beams attached to their heads.
Yeah, so the sharks are the saviors of our world. I like it. All right, well, again, my name is Shawn.
And I'm Rich.
And I say we eat the beaver.